Please, you're stepping off the road.
Please, no.
Please stepping off the road. Sorry there, stepping off the road, please. Thank you.
So why don't you devote the same amount of energy to inspecting those charter flights, man?
Exactly.
Instead of manhandling and bullying
Yes,
an elderly woman,
an elderly woman is not long for this world. And when I do go into the next world, I'm going to come back and haunt you. And that would not be a nice spectacle, will it? It will not be a nice spectacle. You tell me what regulations I'm breaking. I will not walk on the road. Produce this of regulation. Could you do that? Could you do that? Could you do that? I'm a law-abiding person, and I would never dream of breaking the law if I knew what the law was.
Women are shopping.
That's not nice to say to the bank counter, is
Just
it?
because you don't have it. If you were like me and did your driving test, you'd know. You're not allowed to stop cars on the road. Your problem is you know about the UN human rights. That's your problem is.
And I know about the UN 1325, whereas women, we are the ones who should be negotiating the peace.
Onto the line there. Thank you.
Also, to get back to the UN resolution of 1955, women have to the little chat. The Security Council in the year 2000 passed a resolution that women should be involved in all the conflict solving.
Black Hawk Down.
Right? So as you two women are at the moment engaged in not solving,
He's an agent.
I think what you would if you were to go and talk to your boss and just say, can we have some information about 1325 and what is our role in it? Can you remember that? UN Resolution 1325. UN Resolution 1325 passed by the Security Council in the year 2000. Human beings and part of the UN and not just the guard. And the guards are there to protect life. And at the moment, you are not protecting life. What you are doing is allowing life to be destroyed by not making sure that there are no weapons in these planes. And also, I don't want to in any way alarm you, but in a few years when all this comes out, we do have the International Court of Human Justice, and the fact that you are complicit in this means that you will have to do it. The bus is not going to hit you, believe me. The bus will never hit you. The bus is not going to hit you. Bus drivers are very careful.
I'm going to swing round and get me if that lady's there.
Big roundabout now. Oh yes, Iris.
Hello, Tommy. How are you now, Michael?
Fine, Tommy. Hey Tommy.
How are you?
Very good.
All right.
That's Zoe here. Hi Zoe.
Guantanamo Bay mode.
We've actually been arrested by the Americans. This isn't a protest. We've actually been arrested by the Americans, and we are actually prisoners.
All right, like, yeah. Okay.
Mind the cars too. It's going to go on the video.
Are you Mark Russell? All right, now. Yeah. Okay.
Big crowd.
All right.
Big crowd this time round.
Good.
I see it's up to 2.5, over 2,000 now.
Huh?
You know the last time you here, you did over 2,000
Yeah,
now.
good. A lot of hits. A lot of views. Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah. How are you? Yeah. All right, Edward. How are you, Raymond?
Tommy, how you doing? Long time.
I thought you were an IPSC activist, not anti-war. Or is there a difference?
Not fair use at all
How are
against
you?
war.
Good, thank
Goodness,
you.
yeah.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you as well, yeah. All right.
Oh, Tommy,
Okay, now.
mind you back there.
You don't want to lose anybody. Don't lose down the road.
Pardon? Oh, yeah, that's just something to me. Yeah. All right, so.
There we are.
Can I say thanks to everybody who has made the effort to come along here today. Don't forget us on all of the other months that we're here as well, second Sunday of every month from 2 to 3 o'clock. Today's, as we said in our press releases, is particularly significant since it's the 9th anniversary of the invasion of Iraq, when hundreds of thousands of troops started coming through the airport here. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure there aren't many of you, but there are about 600 a day still coming through, armed, and God knows how many boxes of munitions and guns and depleted uranium or who knows what coming through. And as was mentioned by Zoe, it is quite possible that the drones that killed people in Yemen yesterday, that have been killing for years, are coming through Shannon, or some parts of them are coming through.
That's for sure.
I think the problem the world is facing vis-a-vis Iran is the election in the United States. Obama is being pressed very hard by the Jewish lobby, the Israeli lobby, to pursue Iran any means possible, including nuclear weapons usage if the worst comes to the worst. The Republican candidates have also advocated and show a willingness to use weapons, arms, against the military forces against Iran. They also are willing to go to the point of using nuclear weapons against the people of Iran. Now, this is an absolute outrage. These very statements are in violation of international law, violation of the Charter. And Israel is pushing the United States very hard. Now, hopefully Obama will resist the temptation. Politically, it's probably inadvisable for him to go to war.
Even during the last presidential election, Hillary Clinton or whatever was threatening to obliterate Iran if it attacks Iran.
Yeah.
So the same type of jingoistic militarist threats continue.
These statements are contrary to the spirit and wording of the UN Charter. But they get away with it, they repeat it, and it's a very dangerous situation. And you know, the Iranians, if you look at the map, are surrounded by nuclear weapons, Israeli and American in particular. If they were arguing for a deterrent, you could hardly blame them. Now, I don't believe they are. I think they're not intent on having a nuclear weapon. They are into nuclear energy for power purposes. And until they show something different, they are absolutely within the law to do what they're doing today.
Yeah, but even overt threats like issued by Israel and America and whatever, that Ban Ki-moon and the UN keeps quiet. They have nothing to say on this.
The UN is run by the member states, dominated by the 5 permanent members that include France, Britain and the United States. Russia and China, as you know, are opposed to military action on Iran. They have their own vested interests, of course, also, but they're also opposed to going to war under these circumstances.
Yeah, but Ban Ki-moon,
Ban Ki-moon is he's a very weak servant of the same member states I just mentioned. He's no position of his own. He's only the servant of the United Nations member states.
But even the Japanese on the so-called, International Atomic Energy Commission, it cooks up the reports to Israeli and US requirements, and he's on record of being a supporter of Western interests as such. You know, this Japanese guy. I mean, you were on the UN and you resigned honourably. You know, you were charged with food for oil and you resigned on principal grounds. The letter I read, you resigned, this is potentially genocidal. You know, I will not implement...
Well, I mean, we the United Nations killed well over 1 million Iraqis, primarily children. Is that acceptable? Of course not. That is, in fact, genocide. When you sustain a program of sanctions like that result in the loss of life and those sort of figures.
Yeah, but Madeleine Albright, this notorious 60 Minutes interview, she was asked at the UNESCO report 500,000 Iraqi children died as a direct result. But she was asked, don't you think this price is too high? And she says, no, we think the price is worth it. This monstrous saying.
Yeah, I believe she actually regretted that statement later. But the fact is, the Americans have a habit. They don't count the deaths of civilians that they cause. They only count their own losses. So if you ask an American student how many people died in Vietnam, they'll tell you 58,000. The truth is over 3 million, and they were Vietnamese. So the propaganda machine in the United States is very strong, very healthy, so to speak.
Well, I think even now the same proportion of American people, like 70%, that believe that Iran has nuclear weapons, the same proportion as they believed that Iraq was a direct threat, weapons of mass destruction, and it needed US invasion.
You can't hold these individual Americans responsible. They're undereducated, badly informed, no idea where Iran or Iraq are until they've been invaded by their own forces. So they're not guilty of a crime, they're guilty of negligence perhaps and lack of information. And a lack of a government that responds to American concerns. And this is a country dominated by corporate military interests, backed up by media and backed up by the energy sector. You know, the average American has no say in running that country.
Yeah, and to get back into Santorum and these people, I mean, they're directly threatening to...
Well, Santorum has this frightening Christianity spin on things. And he believes it's the great fight and good work and the just war. Very frightening, outdated material he's producing. And I think he won't get a following. But there are lots of Americans who buy into that sort of Armageddon and the good fight sort of story.
Yeah, well even when Obama was addressing AIPAC there a week ago, he repeated the old hoary chestnut, that black lie about Ahmadinejad trying to wipe Israel off the map.
Well, as we both know, that was a gross misinterpretation of the Arabic. Not the Arabic, the Persian, the Farsi.
The Farsi, yeah.
He wants to remove Zionism from the Middle East, not the Jews. There are Jews living in Iran today, in Iraq today. They're all, these people have lived in North Africa and the Middle East for hundreds of thousands of years. In harmony, relative harmony with the Arabs, and that can happen again. But the Zionist theory and the Zionist aggression is what's undermining, harmony amongst people in the Middle East.
All right then, Dennis. Thanks.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.